This here behind me is an LS Tractor's MT342 Cab with a backhoe. Let's check it out, see what's going on. So if you've seen my channel before, you know I already have an MT3 at home, but this one's a cab. I've got a backhoe on mine. This one is a backhoe too. So it's kind of the same, but kind of different. But the cab's pretty neat on this little guy, with one thing I don't love. So let's ninja this camera around the other way. I don't know how do I do that. Well, I'm going to figure out how to work my phone, and then we'll take a look at this thing. Okay. So big old bucket, skid steer quick disconnects. Hoses are all kind of tucked away, but they're not inside the frame. They're behind the frame. That's nice. Blinky things, mirrors, lights on the top, all good cab stuff. Fuel tanks down there, way easier to fill than up on the hood or on the back. These are the industrial tires. We do a lot of industrials out here in Washington State. Here's the backhoe. Subframe design, so it sits on a frame that ties all the way up to here. There's the front of the frame. So that's pretty nice. Adds a lot of strength. I think this is a 2600, I don't know, something, 2000 and something series backhoe. It's a 24-inch bucket on that guy. What else we got in the back? Extendable link arms. That's standard, so you can press this down, pull that arm out to connect to an implement. If you're not square, it's got them on both sides. This guy is actually kind of interesting for doing your tilt for your implements. Instead of a normal turnbuckle, it's a little easier. Turns like that. There's a grease zerk, and then it locks. It's a pretty interesting design. And you got a handle here for raising and lowering your 3-point when you're at the back of the tractor. Instead of trying to reach through the window up to a lever in there somewhere, you just got a lever right here. So pretty nice, as long as you remember to keep your toes out of the way. And 2 sets of hydraulics. One of the sets of hydraulics is running to the backhoe, and then it's running back in a return line there, which this one was set up by the factory. Usually when we set them up, we just come out and back in. So I don't know, maybe that, I don't know why they do that. And then top link isn't hooked on here because people steal them at the shop sometimes, but you got 3 different spaces for the top link, and draft control, that's what that guy is, for tilling or whatever. Yeah, and a little power outlet, a little hooky-doo for a triangle if you're running down the road, and a couple rear lights, rear windshield wiper. There's a antenna for all you terrestrial radio listeners, and the back window has a latch on it, so it does open up. It's got nice little piston thingies to hold the glass up. I'm going to open it up with the seat laying down, because I haven't ever tried this on one of these backhoes before. Let's see if I can move this seat with one hand. Oh yeah, this thing's on here nice and tight. We'll have to loosen that. So I'm going to lay the seat down and open the window and see if it impedes. What else? That's it. Opens on both sides. This one's locked, so I need a key. Here's vents for your air intake, and they've got little filters in them. I think they're HEPA style filters. So let's get a key and get inside. This is the right side, and I can't crawl through here. Maybe a very skinny person could. I'm not very skinny, but we can see HVAC controls up there. These armrests are adjustable up and down. Here's some speakers. Here's some more HVAC. So lots of wind blowing through this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 vents. Holy smokes. And then a CD player would go there if you wanted to install one. Kind of an interesting placement behind you when you're in the seat, but you know, whatever. There's your loader control, some other controls. I'm going to get up into the driver's seat here, and we'll see the layout. Here we go. Whoop. Great camera work today. Climbing into the cab. Oh, before we do, split brakes. There's a pin there to disconnect them. Rear locker, 4-wheel drive. PTO select, 540 or off. I just learned if you put it in this position, you can turn the PTO shaft on the back. Instead of grabbing the PTO shaft on your brush cutter or whatever, you're trying to like line up the PTO shaft and you're just trying with like 2 hands to turn that PTO shaft on the brush cutter. You can use that to make it so you just turn the little PTO shaft on the back of the tractor. It's way easier. I should have known that. What else this thing got going on here we can look at real quick. This is a grabber seat. That's your bouncy bounce control. Depending on how much you weigh, you turn it up or down and it bounces appropriately. Pressure for your 3-point, raising and lowering, how fast it lowers. Moving your seat forward and backwards. Tilting your seat back, forward and backwards. Seat belt, I love how this seat belt is right here so you don't lose it behind the seat. Armrests, we already know about those. Oh, side window openers. Okay, I think we can get in and take a look. Let's look at this rear window first. Here we go. So we're gonna open this rear window. Ah, shoot. These guys have zip ties on them. Okay. Oh no, I got it. What happened to my knife? Hold on. Okay, I got the zip ties off. It's not that my knife isn't sharp, it's just these zip ties are really, really tough. Okay, we're gonna open this rear window. Here we go. Boop. So, remember to fold your seat up and then you can open this window all the way. So, there's one thing just to remember. Okay. Oh, let's look at some other controls. Parker brake down here on the right hand side. Let's see, these are your controls for your rear hydraulics. So that one has the detent that's connected to the backhoe. This one's on a spring. You hook that to a hydraulic top link or something. RPM cruise. I think that's one of the lights. These are windshield wipers. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of dim in here. And then there's other light controls. Here, hold on. I'm going to turn on the engine and we'll see if we can get some light in here. So what else we got here? Horn. Can't hear it because the batteries or the tractor's not turned on. Front headlights, flashers, link pedal kit. This will make your hand throttle attach to your pedals here. So you set your minimum RPM here, and then as you push the pedal down, it'll raise your RPMs like you're driving a manual transmission. 3-speed on this thing. It's a hydrostatic, so low, medium, high. What else we got here? Forward speed lock, so it'll lock that pedal so you're moving forward without having your foot on it. And the dreaded regen controls. And then this has got a tilt steering wheel. Kind of hard to do with one hand, but tilt, tilt, tilt. Moves up and down. This is not like the MT5. The MT5, the whole dash moved when you tilted the steering wheel. Some people didn't like that. I thought it was kind of cool, but whatever. Let's put this key in. Everything's lighting up. Now I've got a little light here. You can kind of see these controls now. It's just dark out this morning. Yeah, windshield wipers, front and rear, lights front and rear. From what I remember, when we first got these tractors in, these controls were really messy. They were in all sorts of weird spots like down here, and they made no sense. And we suggested, hey guys, why don't you clean up those controls? And they did. So all the controls kind of make a little more sense. Front and rear top lights are there. Front and rear windshield wiper are next to each other. This must be like a beacon light. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Now let's start it up, see what the sound is on the inside here. So we'll close the door. Good. Close the other door. And foot on the brake. Nope. Is our PTO off? Okay. Is our transmission out of gear? Are we in park? Yep. Let's see if it'll start now. There we go. Oops. Gotta keep those RPMs down. Lots of great visibility in this guy. There's the leg room. I can stretch my legs out if I need to. I'm not too cramped up in here with my feet on the controls. Here, we'll turn the link pedal on so you can hear that. Link pedal on. Oops. Oh, I won't stay on. Oh, parking brake's on. Parking brake off. Linked pedal on. Here we go, ready? Listen. Got those RPMs up. So that's standard on these tractors. Okay. Turn off link pedal. Push it again. Link pedal's off. Okay, shifter. Same as my tractor. Number one complaint is right here when you're in first gear. It kind of wangs into my knee when I'm trying to reach my pedals. So that can be fixed. You can bend this bar or move it, but that's first gear, which I use a lot because we got a lot of hills and my knees impacting when I'm in gear. Second gear, no problem. Third gear, no problem. So you can kind of see the angle there when this thing's in first gear. It touches your knee. So either get smaller knees or bend this bar, or I don't know, shave your knee down or something. So that's fine. Armrest, here we go. Armrest is up. I'm reaching for my loader control. I don't think there's anything in front of this thing that I might hit. Yeah, there's a mower there, so we're going to keep this bucket faced down. Okay, tip it back. We're at idle here, so this thing's moving super slow. Okay, so I can see the bucket from my seat without it being hidden by the roof. Unlike the next size up, there's no windshield shade you can pull down here, but that's okay. So you can see that whole bucket. Here, RPM's up, we'll move it. So this is normal operating. It's not too loud in the cab. Yes, you can do two functions at once. I keep having people come in here saying, oh, I've been told LS won't do two functions at once. That's not true. It does two functions at once, like every other normal tractor. Okay, so let's see if I can video this. So my arm's on the armrest and I'm reaching out to my joystick. My forearm isn't long enough for me to keep my elbow on here while having this whole joystick in my hand. So I do have to take my elbow off the armrest to control my loader. No big deal, but this is the one thing I don't love about these cab models, which I'd get over real fast, because when you see the price of these and the capabilities and everything else, it all kind of goes out the window for a really, really reliable machine. These controls right here, draft control and the control for your 3-point, are kind of right in line with this lever. So my hand's on this lever, and if I've got my elbow out, I'm whacking these controls. Let me see that? So you can get in a bad habit of using your loader control and using your 3-point controls as an armrest. Instead, you got to kind of bring your elbow in, which probably won't be a problem if you're not like 300 pounds. Not that I'm 300 pounds. But it's not going to be a huge problem. I don't know if you can see it, to just bring your elbow in, but you got to keep that in mind, because if you're whacking your 3-point levers while you're working your joystick here, you're not going to be paying attention to what's going on behind you, and if you don't have the backhoe on, you could be whacking some stuff. So that's my only complaint. So yep, this is the tractor. Great interior visibility. There's glass all over the place. I can see around myself very well. Pretty quiet inside, even with the RPMs all the way up. At peak RPMs, I gotta yell a little bit to be heard, I think, but that's not bad. That's normal. Here's 540. I don't know how many decibels it is, but you probably wouldn't have to wear hearing protection. And then reaching my radio is pretty easy. Reaching my HVAC controls, not bad. It's got AC. If you can see that, there we go. So all in all, great little A-tier tractor without paying the A-tier price. I love my LS MT342. It's been a great tractor. This cab unit's awesome. The cab wasn't in the budget for us, but it probably should have been. So maybe in the future, you know, if you do a lot of hay work, if you're doing custom work, if you're doing work for hire, the extra money for the cab will pay itself off in your ability to kind of extend the shoulder seasons and keep doing work even in inclement weather, snowstorms, stuff like that. You know, we're not going to go out and do snow plowing for hire in a ROPS machine. I'm not going to put on my snow gear to do that. Whereas if you got a nice cab like this, hey, go out and do all the snow work you want. Dusty conditions, this thing will help filter the air. Cold conditions, you got heat. Hot conditions, you got AC. If you ever have the opportunity to buy a cab tractor, do it. Don't be stubborn or old-timey, you know, or be tough. Get a cab tractor. It's worth the extra money. You're not going to notice that extra money being out of your pocket, you know, 15 years down the road when you're a little older and a little colder and aren't going out and doing work, or you can go out and do work because you invested in a cab. So that's just my opinion. And this is a great 42 horse tractor that lifts like 2,000 pounds, which is what a lot of people out here just need to do maintenance around their place. So that's about it. MT342 Cab with the backhoe. We didn't put much in the backhoe because if you see how backhoe works, you know how the backhoe works. If you don't know how backhoe